Welcome to Up to the Minute. I am Todd Duplantis, and we are underway. A lot of things have changed since our last report, of course. Thank you for joining us this morning. Yesterday, as you know, Mayor Turner announced the decision to sign an emergency health declaration for the city of Houston, and Judge Lena Hidalgo followed suit to issue a disaster declaration for Harris County. These decisions impact many of us here in the Houston and Harris County areas, and it also affected city-sponsored events like the Houston Rodeo and others throughout the month of March have been canceled. Of course, throughout the course of the evening last night, more things changed. We first heard the NCAA was eliminating the crowds and audiences from the upcoming March Madness tournament. The NBA canceled or suspended the rest of their season. And of course, President Trump announced that his administration will restrict travel from all Europe and for the next 30 days starting Friday, with the exception of travel from the United Kingdom. So a lot has changed since our last COVID-19 report, which we had just literally 48 hours ago. Dr. Kurt Ewan is joining me now. He's the Vice Chancellor of Strategy Planning and Institutional Effectiveness. We said this, or you said this was a very fluid situation. That's right. A couple of days ago. Man, everything has changed in the last 24 hours.
Yes, it has. I get up very early in the morning and I spend the first hour or two just catching up with what happened.
It's amazing. Now, let's start with the first question, because we've had questions come in social media. We're going to address those. If you have a question, type it in the comments below. We have folks standing by who will get those questions to us, and we'll try to address those live, direct message you, or answer it later through an email. Let's start with the first question: is how is HCC responding, giving the city and the county's decision to escalate things into these declarations of emergency?
So, thank you, Todd, for allowing me to be here and to get our message out as to what we're doing. We're hoping that this becomes a really great forum to keep everybody as informed as possible about what's going on. HCC, as you know, is a very large and distributed community college. We're one of the largest community colleges in the United States.
Right.
7 colleges, over 100,000 students a year, at 22 locations that we own, not to mention all of the dual credit and other outstanding areas. So the coordination of events like this is a challenging effort. We've instituted our incident command team. That's a group of people, high-level administrators and from functional areas all across the system, who come together either remotely or in person to plan. We do this for hurricanes, we do this for any kind of thing, and we instituted it for this event. We're working with the presidents at every location, the deans at all the locations, the vice chancellors for student services and instruction, facilities, the general counsel. We bring all of these people together. We met most of the day yesterday, right, on various topics. And so that's what we're doing. This morning, as a result of what we heard yesterday from the rodeo and the growing concerns and reality on the ground with regards to the coronavirus, we made the decision to extend spring break for an additional 2 days. So what that means is that classes will resume after break on Wednesday, March 25th.
Okay.
Those first 2 days, we are going to dedicate for faculty and staff to be working together collaboratively to prepare for what's coming next. So that's going to be, our plan is to move as many of our classes either to a hybrid environment or to a fully online environment. So let me explain the difference between those two things. A hybrid course environment is one where we make deliberate choices about how to split the course up. Mm-hmm. Some of it will be in a classroom face-to-face with their instructor and their peers. Some of it will be online. In some cases, that's really important. Well, actually, it's important in a variety of ways.
Right.
One way it's important is that we have 2,500 faculty at HCC. Many of them have never taught online.
Right. There's courses they have to take to be able to teach online.
That's right.
Right.
Our number one priority is to help make sure students are successful and safe, right, as well as employees.
Right.
And so if we want to make sure that they have the time to prepare. And so we're taking those first 2 days at the beginning of term for there to be system-wide collaboration, which means we're starting now in prep time. Many faculty and staff will be working over break to prepare, and those last 2 days, right before the 25th of March, will be an opportunity for us to do that.
You know, one of the questions we have coming in our social media through email is why aren't we making the decision to start spring break early given the state of the emergency and the fact that several other institutions have elected to close early and go into their spring break?
Well, I guess what I would say is, one, let's start with the goal. Our goal is to keep people safe and to help students be successful. And part of the way we keep people safe is we rely on the recommendations of national, state, and local authorities to tell us what the situation on the ground is from a scientific and medical perspective, so we know how to respond. Currently, the City of Houston and the Houston Health Department have still not suggested that schools close.
Right.
And so we're following that advice. We want to make sure that at all, to the greatest degree possible, our faculty are prepared when they walk into the classroom in a hybrid environment or fully online, because that will determine how successful students are. And it's not just the classroom environment, it's advising, it's tutoring, it's all the data systems that will help us understand how students are doing. There's a tremendous amount of coordination that we're working hard to get there, but we just want to make sure it's right.
So some students may have a question of, well, I'm already taking a number of my courses online, so it won't be a problem for the online programs.
Yes.
However, if a student is moving to online classes, how are they going to receive directions? Will they get an email? Will they get instructions? Where do they log on? Where do they go to? How will those questions be answered? And how will if we do move to online classes, how will that be managed with technology?
So our online environment, we have a variety of tools. Every course has the ability for their faculty to engage their students through a product called Canvas, which is what in educational language, that's a learning management system that allows for dialogue, email, grading, all of that right there online. And so every course has that. We're going to start to deploy that. We also have things like Microsoft 365 Suite. All of those tools are available. We have WebEx, which is a way of communicating broadly, remotely. Mm-hmm. It might be possible that a faculty member says, we're not going to meet in the classroom, but we are going to meet by WebEx. So log into this account at that class time, and we'll do it that way. And there's opportunity for people to talk back and forth. So there's lots of possibilities. In terms of your first question, before everybody comes back from break, we will have a comprehensive communication strategy for students, faculty, and staff to let them know what, when, how, why, all of those kinds of things. We're going to push that out to them by email, text message. It'll be on our website. All of those things will be available, and we'll be encouraging faculty to push the information out about their own classes to their students.
You bring up a good point, but right now, Dr. Perez has just arrived, so maybe we can get her in here. Dr. Norma Perez will be joining us in a few moments live. We do have some questions. We'll be getting to those shortly, but you bring up some good points. One thing I want to recap. First off, we are going to go on spring break next week. We are going to delay our spring break for our students only.
Correct.
To the 25th. If you're faculty and staff, you should be reporting to campus on Monday the 23rd.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. If you are faculty and staff or a student and you're watching this, make sure you go into PeopleSoft and make sure we have the correct phone number for you. That's very important for us to text you, not only in this situation, but in the case of any emergency. Make sure you update your email address. And if at one time you unsubscribed to the HCC emails, go back in and subscribe again, because we have to be able to get a hold of you. It's critical during this break to give you instructions if you're a student, and if you're faculty and staff, to give you instructions on reporting and really the workflow, because it sounds like come Monday, a week from now, a lot of things are going to be changing for a lot of us.
Yeah, well, and it's not just for students, so let's be clear. We're moving as quickly as we can to create opportunities for as many of our faculty and staff to work remotely. Faculty moving to hybrid, moving to online, are already working remotely. Other kinds of staff may work remotely as well, and we're working out all the logistics of how that will function. And so, yes, it's going to change students' lives, it's going to change faculty lives, but it's also going to change the way in which staff do their work.
And if you do receive those emails from us, I know that there's a survey that's being sent out from Student Services. They need to get the information from you to collect on whether or not you have internet access, availability to a laptop, online device. So we need to know that information as we move in this direction. Welcome to the show, Dr. Norma Perez. Thank you for joining us, the Vice Chancellor of Instructional Service and Chief Academic Officer. We were talking, we made the announcement about the delayed return for spring break. We're getting into some questions now, and possibly you've arrived in a great time because the next question we have is, what about for courses that can only follow the hybrid model? How will students make up lessons and time lost if we have to close and only online delivery is available?
But those are the things that we are, first of all, thank you for having me.
Sure.
And sorry that I was not here earlier. However, as you know,
It's busy times for all of us.
we're in a situation right
Right.
now, we're trying to get all of our faculty up to speed. For those courses that, those are the courses that we consider are courses that have a hands-on portion.
Right.
And so for those courses, we're looking at what other alternatives could we offer them. So for example, there could be some online videos. There could be some online possibilities that would allow us to continue to provide the students with some form of what is it that they're going to be performing when they go out to the field. We are also looking at the possibility that, again, if need to, reach out to our industry partners to see if in fact there is a possibility that our students that we could direct our students there to be provided that hands-on experience that we are doing at this time.
If we can, Nathan, if we can adjust the levels on Dr. Perez's audio, we're hearing she's a little low, so we're up now to speed now. I've got a question that's just been asked, and one person's asking about finals this weekend. How are they affected? Will they still be happening? And what about students, and this is kind of going in the same direction, what about students who are worried about going to class? Are we going to be flexible with them? And will we allow them to take finals at home? How is that going to work as we move forward?
Well, as of right now, courses are on schedule. The spring break does not start until Monday. So as of right now, those exams that are scheduled will still be held as scheduled, unless that changes from today to tomorrow. As you
Sure.
are aware, this
Which
is
very
a
well could happen.
situation
Yeah.
that is changing. But for right
Yeah.
now, we will look at that as a possibility. If for some reason we have to change that, then we have some methods in which the online testing can actually take place. So we can quickly implement that and get those students from that and allow them to do that.
So if you have a final this weekend, take the final. You need to go to class this weekend. And I guess the question comes up about flexibility. Are we going to have more flexibility with students who may be worried about going in public, or they may be feeling sick? Or are we going to be more flexible than we have been in the past?
So let me just, I'll jump in on the broad picture of that. First and foremost, we want people to be safe.
Sure.
So let's follow all the guidelines that have been put out there. Wash your hands, practice safe social distancing. When you're coughing, sneezing, cover your mouth, cover your nose. Do all of those things. If you're not feeling well, stay at home. Look, our faculty during Hurricane Harvey
Yeah.
Rose to the challenge and were as accommodating as they could be to help students be successful. They will do that again, as will the rest of our staff. But if people aren't feeling well, they should stay at home. In terms of not feeling comfortable, what we can say is we've upped all of our cleaning protocols. In terms of making sure all of our facilities are as clean as possible, wiped down on a regular basis. High density areas are even more so. We'll be having, most likely by the end of today, we'll be having very clear guidelines on the size of gatherings that can move on moving forward.
Right.
But like I said, students should trust their gut but keep their faculty in the loop if they make decisions about their class attendance.
Sure.
Right. Let me add to that, Todd, that Dr. Ewan is absolutely correct. During Harvey, our faculty stepped up to the plate, and I'm very confident that they will continue to do the same thing. They were very sensitive to issues that were developed back then with
Right.
students, and I've already issued that that directive to all of our faculty to please look at each situation differently.
Yeah.
Many of our courses do have this no makeup exams. I'm asking them to relax that, and that, again, that students should be given the opportunity to complete whatever assignments, exams that they have, at least for the rest of the semester.
One question we just had, how will this affect dual credit students? Do we still have to go to class tonight? Well, obviously, the classes will still be going on tonight. Will they be affected similar to the regular HCC student? How is that going to work?
They would be if again, whatever we're doing with our students, we will be doing with our dual credit students.
Okay.
We'll follow the same kinds of rules. And so we also know that our ISDs may have a different protocol. So again, we're communicating with our partners to make sure that we're in close communications, because of whatever they do, it may affect what we do on our end. But right now, the intent of all of this for the rest of the semester is to keep our students on their instructional plan with the idea that we want them to complete. So if we go totally online, then yes, we're going to start looking at those dual credit courses also going totally online, which means again that we will work with the ISD faculty that we have and getting them prepared to be able to do that.
Dr. Ewan, you mentioned something earlier that was real important about considering large gatherings and where you're going to go with that in the future. I noticed the Southwest College just recently canceled the breakfast with the president that they have coming up, and another one of their large events as well. But right now, there's no mandate on that across the college. Is that on a case-by-case basis, and will that be made by the presidents? Is it coming? How is that working right now?
So there's a couple of items. One is it internal events and how we're handling that. There are several locations. The West Loop campus, for one, is a location where we have lots of outside guests coming in, and so we're evaluating all of those. We have contracts with many of those folks who've leased the space. In terms of what's in our best interest for our students when people are on our locations, that will be cleared up today, and that will be announced. Yeah.
So that's still a fluid situation there, but it sounds like the decision's going to be made today as to how we're going to govern those.
Can I say, if we're getting ready to close, I want to say two more things.
Sure.
So one is that in times like this, one of the best things you can do to help us, everybody, faculty, staff, students, if we send something out like a survey, respond. These are the best ways.
Right.
We need to have information from people actually in living these realities to help us make better decisions. The second is that when I was here 2 days ago, we talked about our travel restrictions. All international travel that's HCC related has been canceled for the time being. In domestic travel is on a case-by-case basis, but conferences are closing left and right.
Oh, yes.
And those numbers are going to go down in a heartbeat. For students, faculty, and staff traveling independently or on their own over break, if you're going outside the country, we're asking you to let us know. And specifically, there are guidelines with regards to level 2 and level 3 countries in terms of what you're going to need to do when you get back. Make sure that you go online, figure that out, and tell us where you're going so we have an idea as to what to expect when you come back.
And you mentioned a good point about the emails that we're sending out. We have to make sure we have your correct email address. As I mentioned earlier, if you unsubscribed at one time to HCC emails, please go back in and opt in once again. We need to be able to get a hold of you and make sure we have the right cell phone number in PeopleSoft. It only takes a matter of moments. You go in PeopleSoft, update your primary phone number. That's the one we'll try to text you on. And there's a good chance over the holidays we may need to get a hold of you, and we'll do it via text, email, social media. We have ways of doing that, and also in this environment as well. We do encourage you to join us every morning at 10 a.m. Central Time at least through the end of this week as we have live reports and updates. We'll answer your questions. If we didn't get to the question on the show now, you can post it even during the recorded version of this event, and we will answer it either on the next show or direct message you. We also, a couple of takeaways we want to go over. Once again, we're going to be on spring break next week. Classes are still going on through the end of this week, even for weekend classes.
Correct.
You are expected to attend those. But coming back from spring break, we're delaying it for our students to Wednesday the 25th. Faculty and staff will be here on the 23rd. That's correct?
That is correct.
And when they're here, once again, the idea is that we're going to be training for the next phase of this, correct?
Yes.
That is correct. And training has already started. It started yesterday. However, we are going to allow for some additional training for those individuals who really want to do it face-to-face. But we do have the training that's available online, as well as pre-recorded videos. So I will be asking our faculty to also use the spring break
Sure.
to do some preparations. But we also realize that there's going to be a need to provide further training, which is why we're asking them to come back Monday and Tuesday.
If you have any questions or information you would like to get, you can always stay abreast by going to our website, and of course the address is hccs.edu/health-notice. hccs.edu/health-notice, and that will bring them to the COVID-19 page, which I imagine is always being updated with new information as your team meets, correct?
That's right, yes. It's being updated all the time, and faculty and staff can find even more information relevant to their work on my HCC on the coronavirus page.
Absolutely. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you, Todd.
We will always be updating you with the most up-to-date information on this broadcast at 10 a.m. For the next couple of days, and probably beyond that as we go into the break and return, especially on the 23rd, for the faculty and staff. Thank you for coming down here today. This is a situation as is changing very rapidly, so we ask you to keep up to date through not just the news, but go to our website with all the information. As a reminder to everyone, stay on top of your emails and check the coronavirus page on our website for the latest updates, and it's very critical that we all remain in touch over the next couple of days and throughout spring break. Thank you for joining me on Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.